live. Here we go. Well, good evening to everyone out there on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in to the first edition of the Locker Room for the 2023. And we are excited to be back at this again. And we have another great night of conversation tonight. We have some great panelists who are with us tonight. And so I want to ask everyone who's watching, if you can really, really quickly, just go ahead and hit that share button and go ahead and share this broadcast to your page so that other friends and followers can jump on with you. Just need everybody to go ahead and hit that share button really, really quick on your device so that we can have other people can log on and watch with you, because I'm really, really excited about this conversation tonight. And the first thing I want to do before we introduce our panelists tonight, I want to say this is something new and different we're doing in 2023. And so I want to thank tonight's sponsor of the Locker Room is Auntie's Hair Care Products, which is owned and operated by Tonette Troublefield. It's a brand new website and line of all natural hair care products that she's coming out that is focused on making your hair healthy and strong and vibrant. And so tonight you can, or at some point this evening, you will be able to go to her website. And I'm actually going to pin her website in the comments. So you will be able to go to her website and check out some of the products that she has. But I want to thank her so much for being our sponsor for our session tonight, which is really, really, really huge. And so just want to give a special thanks and shout out to her. I know she's watching tonight. And so we want to thank you for sponsoring the show tonight. We appreciate you. We love you. And, can't wait to try those products. And so fellas, we got beard oil for you too. We didn't forget the fellas. We got some beard oil, and I am wearing some right now. And let me tell you, this stuff feels so great on my beard. Let me tell you, it's absolutely wonderful. So we got some beard oil for you guys. And of course, we got the ladies covered. So again, special shout out to her and thanks to her for being the sponsor for tonight's show. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce our panelists tonight. All of these people are absolutely phenomenal people to know. I'm so grateful that I had a chance to meet them and converse with them just a little bit here tonight. And so the first person I want to introduce, I've been knowing this young lady for a good while now. Her and her husband are very special people to me. And they have been a source of encouragement, a source of inspiration, and not just to myself personally, but they have inspired people all over the place. She is simply a powerful woman. She's an educator, and there's probably like 100 other things that she does that she's just great at, because she just can do so many things. But those are the two things that I appreciate most about her, being an educator. We are blessed to have people like her in the education system, working with our children and with our young people. She is definitely saved. She loves the Lord. And I'm so glad that she agreed to be with us on the Locker Room tonight. And so I want to introduce everybody. My sister, Miss LaFreya Wilson. How you doing tonight?
Thank you, Blair. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for those kind words. You know how much I love you and your wonderful wife and your family. And certainly it's an honor and a privilege to be here on tonight on your first Locker Room of 2023 with these wonderful panelists who come from a variety of backgrounds and areas, but are just doing amazing things. So certainly I'm humbled and honored to be here tonight.
Awesome. Our next panelist I want to introduce, I met this gentleman briefly through chat really. I've seen him at many places, throughout the city, but this was the first time actually meeting him for the first time really through chat, and then of course seeing each other face to face here. But I've been watching him do so many things in the city, so many great things and events that I've seen put on that have just been top notch, first class. I this year, one of the things I told my wife is I said I want to make sure that I attend one of his events this year, because I've heard so many great things. But the way that he puts on whatever he does, it tells you a lot about who he is as a person and who he is as a man. And so I'm grateful that he agreed to come and be with us on tonight. And so I want to introduce to you all Mr. Dennis Wilson. Mr. Wilson, how are you, sir?
I'm great. I'm excellent. Thank you. I appreciate you reaching out, and I'm definitely honored to be on the podcast with everybody. So let's have a great night.
All right. And then next we have this brother is everywhere. And I didn't even know that he was a realtor at first, because I just remember seeing he was always telling you like where the best places to eat was. And so when I'm looking for a restaurant, I would just go to his page and see, okay, where did he say go eat? Where did he say good places was to eat? And then through that, finding out that this guy's in real estate. I'm like, wow, and then I'm seeing his signs everywhere, and he's just selling and moving homes and helping people out all over the city, doing big things. And it's just great to see other Black men doing positive things in the community and really out there trying to do all they can to make a difference. And I appreciated that about him. And I've seen each other in passing, here and there. But he's really doing some great things in the city. And I'm glad that he also agreed to be on with us tonight. And so I want to introduce everybody. They call him Drewski, but his name is Andrew Scott. What's going on, sir?
Peace, everyone. I'm happy to be here. So just small, little interesting fact. We'll call it Black History fact. So shout outs to, the forever loved Deacon Troublefield. So what Blair doesn't realize is that I played for his dad's church for years, and his dad was my Sunday school teacher.
Wow.
Sundays that he did teach. So I had a really good, tight relationship with his pops. I just crossed him in a passing. Throughout, I was a musician, but I had to put that aside. And I was a critic, put that aside. So yeah. Just like I said, much love to your dad and what everything he stood for. But happy to be here with you all.
Man, great. So glad you're here. Last but not least, me and her go way back. We go back a ways. We go back a ways. And she's always been, she's the type of person you don't have to wonder where she stands. She gonna let you know. You're never gonna have to figure out who she is. You're never gonna have to figure out what she's about, because you're just going to know. She is unapologetically who she is. And it is something I have always appreciated about her. And she is an awesome beautician, and it's a whole bunch of other stuff she do too. But she's an awesome beautician, and she's a powerful woman in God. She loves the Lord. And she just has this bright, wonderful personality. Like every time she walks in the room, like you just can't help but smile. She just has this illuminating personality. And I appreciate her. I always have love for her and her husband. Both of them are just great, great people. And so I'm so glad. And I was a little nervous about if she would do it. And she said yes. And I was like, yes. So I'm excited that she's on tonight. And this is my sister, Batika Goldsmith. What's going on with you?
Hi, everybody. What an introduction. Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Some awesome people on this panel. I was like, woo, I don't know, but I'm glad to be a part. I'm ready to learn. Iron sharpens iron. So sharpen me up.
All right, all right. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get started here. We have one other guest, but we're having some technical difficulties because Zoom been acting up all day with me, and Facebook been acting up all day with me. But I am determined that we're gonna get her in this room tonight, some kind of way. We're gonna get our other guest in here, and I'll make sure to introduce her when we get her in. But y'all know how it is. When something great getting ready to go down, stuff just start going stupid for no absolutely reason. But that's not gonna stop nothing. We are gonna go ahead and get and we're gonna work this out and get her in this room hopefully tonight while we're here. But we're gonna go ahead and get started because we don't want to belabor the time. And so the title of our topic tonight is Be You. And we want to talk about how powerful and how significant it is for you to authentically be who you are. And yes, we got her in. There she is. So our last panelist is in. It took some doing, but God is good. He worked it out, got her in here. So this young lady, the first time I heard her sing, I was like, wow, what a voice. I was like, oh my goodness, this girl can sing, just flat out sing, like effortlessly sing. You know, and you look at people and you be like, how is all that voice coming out of all of that small person? Where's all that voice coming from? But she's just a really nice, very unassuming. But I was drawn to her when it came to this topic. And I just said, I feel like she's got something to say and something significant to say. And that with all that powerful singing voice, she also has a powerful perspective to offer. And that's why I reached out and asked her to be a part. And so I am honored that she agreed to be on with us tonight. She has her own band called the Kennedy Band. They be singing everywhere, just be singing all over the place, everywhere. People coming out to experience them. So I want to Miss Tamika Kennedy. How you doing?
Hello, how are you doing?
Good. Glad we finally got you in there. I said we're going to get her in here tonight. And boom, she's in here. We're going to work past these difficulties and get you in. So glad that you were able to make it in.
I'm
so
happy
here we
to
go.
be here.
Hey, great. We're going to have a great time tonight. So here we go. We're talking about how powerful and significant it is to be who you are. And in a day and time where we have so many people who are trying to copy each other, and then you have those who just haven't been able to find the courage to just go ahead and be the person that they've been created to be, or be the person that they want to be, because they're just a little nervous. They're not sure if they'll be accepted.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you can be 50 years old and still don't know. You can be 60, you can be 60 years old, 70 years old, and have lived a whole life not being who you authentically are, because you're just not sure if I be that person, will I be accepted? Will I be pushed aside? And so a lot of people stay in their shells forever, or they become a chameleon. They just adjust to whatever environment they go into, and they'll just turn into whoever they want to turn into. They'll be miserable in it. They'll be unhappy in it, but at least somebody is paying attention to me. But they know in their heart that this is not really who I am, who I'm supposed to be. And so I want to start with this quick quote, and then I want to ask each person to kind of give their perspective on it. And so it says this: when you are content to simply be yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. So be yourself, because everybody else is already taken. Just be who you want to be, not what people want to see. So I want to start with LaFreya, and then we're going to go around, because I want to get what everyone perspective of this quote. So I want to ask you with LaFreya starting, when you heard that quote or you read the quote, what did it speak to you? What did you receive from it when you heard it?
So I'm I'm an educator. So the first thing that came to my mind was a Dr. Seuss quote that said, "Why fit in when you can stand out?" And so when I thought about myself and how my life was shaped, I've always wanted to be who God had made me or called me to be my entire life. And I didn't want to fit in with other people because a lot of times what they were doing didn't match my own personal goals or values. So I became comfortable with being different and being my own unique self. So when I was reading the quote and thinking about it, I've always wanted to just be who I was. I had a different name. Nobody I was ever around or I grew up with had my name. I had my own unique name, and then I just had my own way of doing. And so I began, because I was already born with this different name. I always had a different way of doing that didn't meet the same status as other young people, and even when I was growing up. I just got really comfortable with being uniquely me. And as an adult, and I've developed and grown more, I've learned to accept that it was okay to be different. I didn't do what other people did. And there was always someone in my life reminding me that I didn't have to be like other people. Or they would say things like, "Don't you do what other people do. I don't want you to be like this. I don't want you to be like that." And it was always someone telling me. And I know that was God along the way, speaking through people to let me know it was okay to be uniquely, the Lafreya that I was, and that it was okay to not be like everybody else. And it has certainly paid off over the years as I've, gotten mature and gotten older, that really embracing who I was uniquely made to be and all my differences and all my, ways of doing that didn't really fit what other people were doing really has blessed my life essentially, because I didn't allow what everybody else was doing or what the crowd was doing dictate what I needed to do. I was always trying to make sure that I was being my best self.
Awesome, awesome. Matika?
Yes, so this has been I would say not really a thing that I've dealt with a lot in my time, growing up and things like that and maturing. I've always been okay with being who I was for majority of my time. I've had times where, you feel the pressure, or you feel that, well, maybe I should try this because this seems to be working for this group. Maybe I should try this because it's popular right now and it'll be better for my brand, or different things like that. It's hard work trying to be somebody that you're not. It's hard work trying to be someone else. And I take pride in my consistency. So if I am not content with who I am, then I cannot deliver consistency. So therefore, when you see me and we engage, you'll never really be secure in our conversation or what it is that I'm delivering, because you don't know which version of me you're going to get. And that's not who I want to represent. That's not who I want to be. So being content with who you are, it solidifies your grounding, and it allows people to feel safe with knowing that when you encounter them, or whatever it is that you're doing in personal, in business, if it's spirituality has anything to do with, with your ministry, you want people to have that security to know, I'm gonna get what she got, and that's just what it is gonna be. I never want to be a mystery, because I don't want to deal with those mysterious people. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to be that.
Awesome, awesome. Mr. Wilson, let's go with you, sir. What did that quote speak to you?
It's kind of a lifestyle, to be honest. Like, to me, like, it's all about being yourself. You know what I mean? And when you're your true self, like, people either gonna gravitate to you, or you can see it. And when people are authentic, you can feel it. And I feel like, especially being in the restaurant business, you have to have a good you have to be able to be around people a lot, and people will see you if you're not being real, if you're not being genuine. So that quote is something I live by pretty much.
Awesome, awesome. Tamika, come on, jump in here.
Yes, so I'm sorry, I'm having a little difficulty. This is my first time doing this, but thank you for having me though. So my view, originality. is key to everything, and having confidence in yourself is the key to, basically being aware of what's going on around you. God is involved in everything, right? So when we are being ourselves and when we are doing what we have to do on our daily paths, and going through life and going through tragedies and going through nonsense that try to attack us on a daily basis, we try to stay strong and we try to accomplish all our goals and we try to be our best selves. So knowing yourself and learning yourself and being your best self and just being original and doing everything in your own way make you shine so brighter than you can ever shine, if you don't be yourself. Because just being like biting off somebody else is not going to help you in life. Hating on somebody else is not going to help you in life. Just doing the right thing, being yourself, letting God guide you. When I was younger, I was brought up in the church. I was brought up in love. I was brought up in happiness. And that helped me be me. That helped me become Kennedy. And all I want to do is have everybody know love, know peace, hear that in my voice, hear that when they hear me speak, see that when they see me, know that I'm trying to be me, original Kennedy, authentically Kennedy. And I'm just trying to spread love. And, love is key throughout the world. God is love. So why not just show peace and love and kindness every day? That's being original.
Awesome. Andrew, what you got?
I love being at the end of the responses because I'm gonna just piggyback off everything that everyone else said. I'm gonna say that the one thing about me is that I have in my upbringing, I would say that I always kind of was pointed out to always have done different things, and that's on many different levels. So being a young entrepreneur, wanting to sell things at such a young age. I started selling things at 6 years old. And just my style of wear, I've always done oddball things. We'll just kind of take it back a couple years. We'll go back to before I started to lose my hairline, I cut my hair bald. But before I did that, I did a box cut. And we're talking about 2012, actually, 2010, actually. I got a box cut. I cut it to a Gumby. I had a rat tail. I've always been known to kind of do things that are kind of out of the box, and going the opposite direction of the culture of the wave. So I learned that back in probably right around that time in my early 20s to accept the difference, right? Accept the fact that I am different. I'm made different, and I think different. And so therefore, everything that comes from me is going to be different. I found my success really comes from being different, going into the crowds, into the rooms, into the spaces and places where people look at me and wonder, why is he here? Who invited him? What's happening? And it definitely in the business is finding ways to be creative, to try to make step myself apart. It comes naturally though, right? So like I don't have to look for the different ways. I'm just naturally doing things that are different, and I don't realize it half the time until someone speaks on it and say, hey, you're doing this and everyone else is doing that. Why? I don't have an answer. I just know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. When you're led, you just flow with it. You don't think about it. And that's kind of, I kind of lean on faith when it comes down to that kind of thing. Because if you're always doing something different than everyone else, it really kind of have you questioning yourself and what you're doing. But if you keep in the back of your mind that something brought you to that, and just stay on that path, you'll find why you went that road. So, just from my personal, all the way to, through spiritual, physical, definitely the business right now is definitely where I see it. I stand out, and I don't work to do that. I just am just Drewski where I am in that space, and it creates itself. So I think, to the quote, that contentment is key, and knowing thyself is key, and respecting who you were built to be, and not worrying about what the status quo is.
That's great, man, and everything that all of you said is so powerful in terms of what you heard when you saw that quote. And so when you look at who you are and and for those who have some people who are watching tonight, that, you know, there's some people who still may be challenged in that area a little bit of kind of figuring out, you know, who they are. So I want to go to the part of where being who you are sometimes, or maybe not sometimes, might not be connected necessarily to what you do, depending on how that looks. And so I want to ask, because all of you in your profession, everyone on here kind of does something different in terms of the industry you're a part of, or the type of work that you do. All of you kind of do something different, yet all of you serve people in your respective what you do. You serve and help people, but all of you kind of do it in the different ways. So when you look at what you do professionally, or what you do as a business, or what you do as your passion, my question to you is, was it initially connected to who you are, or was it something that just kind of morphed into, this is kind of what I fell into doing, or this is kind of what I ended up doing or getting involved in, based on who I am? So how connected is what you do to who you are? And so this time I want to start with Mr. Wilson first, and then we'll go to LaFreya, then we'll go to Latika, to Andrew, and we'll end on who'd I say? I lost track. Who I didn't say? Tamika, you last. That's right. So we're gonna start with Mr. Wilson first.
That was a full package. Can you like help me understand that a little bit better?
Sure.
Like what you was asking.
In terms of, because what you all have said is that you kind of have known who you are, and you've been comfortable in your own skin with who you are. And so I wanted to find out, how closely is that connected to what you do? Or maybe a better question might be, how much did who you are influence what you do? How much does it influence what you do, or how much did it influence you to get started doing what you do?
For me personally, like who I am, like I'm a motivated person. So for me, I always had my own self-motivation. So I wasn't motivated by what somebody else had or somebody else did. And that's just me personally. So I was able to try things in my own realm. It was times I did have to step out the box, because in order to be successful, you have to be uncomfortable at times. So, and those are challenges. Like I don't talk a lot. Like, you know, when I talk, I try to just make sure I'm effective when I talk. But when you're a teacher, you have to talk to the students. So when you're doing business, you have to talk to the customer. Sometimes you have to market yourself. So I had to learn those things, and I had to learn what I was comfortable with and what I wasn't comfortable with. And so back years ago when I used to do music, I was able to find out what I was comfortable with doing and the things I wasn't comfortable. So now that I'm in my businesses, I try to do things that's in my, I ain't gonna say all in my comfort zone, but I try to make sure I keep my morals, I keep my philosophy. So I'm not out doing something because somebody else is doing it or somebody else said. So I still try to stay true to myself with everything that I do, and my morals, and I guess integrity. That's my big thing. Whatever I do, I try to have integrity in it, and that allows me to be me, regardless of what I'm doing, what business, what adventure I'm trying to do, what trip, whether it's a party. If you come to an event, because you said you haven't came yet, but if you come to an event, you're gonna see me being me, the same as you see me eating in a restaurant or whatever. I'm not trying to be somebody else, or I'm not being somebody else. I'm still me, and I was able to achieve success by that formula. So I try to keep that formula.
Great. LaFreya?
So when I think about myself, I know that the job that I'm in education is a calling. So I know in my heart, I've devoted my life to children and youth in our community, and really anywhere in this world. I always share with my colleagues that children, young adults need good people all over this world. So it doesn't matter if I'm here in Buffalo, New York, if you put me way out in the West Coast, you put me in some third world nation, I know in my heart that I was called to work with children and called to work with youth. There's just a certain joy that I get when I'm working with young people, whether it's in my secular job or whether it's through ministry. It's just who God made me to be. I know he called me to like be in a leadership role and take charge. I'm the second of three children, but I was always the one taking charge. So from the time I was little, and you don't remember all the memories when you're younger. So a lot of my relatives always say, you always wanted to run the games, you always took over, you always took charge. And I think back, and I was always coming up with ideas and putting everybody together. And as young as like 5 years old, I insisted that I needed to be in charge of washing the dishes at home. And so I just always had this, I wanted to take care of things and be a nurturer and take charge of things, and I always wanted to protect younger people, taking care of my younger sister growing up. So taking care of my cousins, just always wanted to protect our young people. So it shaped me into who I was. I mean, professionally, I thought I was going to go to law school and become essentially a judge one day. But that wasn't the path that God had called for me. So as much as I love children and youth, I thought the hardest thing in the world is to become an educator, because how do you teach people to learn? And yet 24 years later, it's the greatest thing to me personally that I could have ever done, was going to the role of becoming a teacher and then moving into a leadership role in education where I'm still able to impact learning. So for me, this has definitely been the call. And then that transfers over into ministry, from teaching Sunshine Band, teaching Sunday school, to, Bible studies, to doing conferences, doing professional development, just any opportunity I can to share what I have. I'm always trying to share that with others. And so that calling to really be a teacher and to do that work has transferred over not only into my professional life, but into my spiritual life as I go out and minister very often. And the same excitement and jubilance I get when I'm in a classroom doing a lesson with the kids is the same way I feel when I'm sharing the gospel, which is the good news, with believers or even those who are trying to learn the path. So I know in my heart that I was called to teach not only our youth, but to teach the word of God as well.
Awesome. Matika?
I am certain that I am supposed to be doing what I'm doing now. I've been a beautician. My mother would say since I probably was like 5, I was cutting my doll's hair and playing with the flat irons. I was curling synthetic hair when I was a real little girl, giving them the salt and pepper cuts and things like that. But I've known for a very long time that I was a creator. I'm a creator. I like to create things, and I like to love on people and make them feel good. So even when I veered off to try to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, I always came back to serving, And I believe that that was something that was passed on from my grandfather to my mother and to me, because we just have our family. If anybody knows our family, we're just that family that you can come to when you're in need or when you're broken, or just for whatever. We're there. We want to see you better. We want to see you feel good. We want to see you look good. So serving has always been a part of me, and creating things with my hands has been something that I know that I'm very passionate about. So I just stay in my lane. That's where I'm supposed to be. I'm good at it. And it's good to be in your own lane, because you don't have to worry about running into stuff.
I hear you. Come on, Andrew.
So yeah, who I am now is who I always been. And again, I didn't realize that until probably my mid-20s, when I just kind of heard stories about my younger self, and some of the people that hadn't seen me in some time kind of brought back some things, and I paid attention to those stories. You listen to your elders, and you don't pay attention. We hear our elders, but we don't listen to them. So I began to listen to my elders, and I began to understand that the person that I was when I was a young child is the same person I am today, and that person involves serving, for one, in many different capacities. Really kind of rooted in the church. As well as some others here. I've been playing the drums since I was a child, ushering, doing the media ministry. Every capacity, every time the church had an event, I was there, giving help. Summer summer help at the church. I started running around in the summertime. I was at the church with with the older deacons and kind of learning from them and just being a helping hand. So that kind of is the root of it all. But where I am now in the specific business that I do, which is 99% of what I do, it is really about sharing and access. So I've always shared as much information and as much education that I could possibly share. Access, I've always tried to connect people to that information that I had to share. So not only will I tell you, hey, this is how I'm getting this done, or this is how you can make this happen, but I'll connect people. So that interconnection, which in today's world, I guess most people are calling networking. So I've always been one to walk into a room where I know no one. By the end of the time to walk out the room, I know half the room. They know who I am. We're going to communicate. We're going to follow up. That's always been me. I've always taken that as just who I am. I love that about myself. I love the fact that I can make at least an acquaintance within 10 minutes with anyone. And then lastly, I think that what really plays into who I am is I'm a good debater. I've always enjoyed debating, not arguing, but having a real intellectual conversation about where I stand versus where someone else is standing. And I'll actually go against the grain. I think the greatest person I've ever done it with, and unfortunately, is my father. And ironically, my son turned 17 today, and now he's to me being my father. My son likes to go against the grain on purpose. We'll have those weird discussions that most people won't have, and we'll essentially go the opposite way of what we really truly believe, just to kind of see how far out we can go and have intellectual debates with that. But that plays very well into, I used to give my dad a headache, but I enjoy when my son do it. But that plays very well into the business that I'm in now, because you have to be able to negotiate. And I can go back and forth all day long with other realtors and brokers to make sure that my client comes out on top. And that's what I'm hired to do. And so all of that is just encompassing of who I always been. And so I found this space, years after my father told me to come in at 19. It took me about 12 years to figure that out. And now I found out that maybe I need to be seasoned and kind of be ready for it. So I don't think it would have been a good idea to do it early. But who I am today is who I've always been. I just kind of needed to work out some kinks. So I am who I've always been. And I'll always probably be this individual.
Awesome. Tamika?
Yes. So, yes, I am who I always been since birth. I came out the womb singing. Since 5, I've been singing in the church. I got my name Bubblegum from me being in the church and my pastor putting me on a chair and giving me the microphone and having me sing I Can't Forget every Sunday. And so what I'm doing with my band right now, I have a band called the Kennedy Band, and it's me leading, me being the leader. And I have a great band behind me, a keys player and a drummer and a bass player and 3 backup singers. And we are out and we're trying to promote people and promote ourselves into being better people on a daily basis, to show love and inspiration, because everybody is going through something on a regular basis. Everybody is hurting. A lot of people are hurting, actually, including me. I am going through something in my personal life that requires me to fight on a regular basis, that requires me to be very strong, and requires me to remind myself that I came from God. I came from church. I came from the mothers of my church who kissed me and told me that I'm beautiful and I'm talented and that I'm strong and I'm a woman and I'm holy and I carry myself as a woman no matter what. And in anything that I do, I remember where I come from. And then I just show that in everything I do. So that's all I'm trying to do out here with my band and with my backup singers and with my great musicians. It's just show everybody that the devil can attack you on a regular basis, and he can give you all he got on a regular basis. But But if you remember that you started from God, if you don't remember nothing else, you remember you start from God, you can get through everything with a smile and grace and dignity and pride and come out strong as ever, wise with wisdom, and you will shine in every crowd. You will shine in the darkest places, and God will bless you all times. And you never got to fight your own battles neither, because God will always fight your battles no matter what. So everything that I said ties into me, being a child, growing up in church, and just growing up and just surrounded in love, and growing up with a family, full family. I'm the baby of my family, and I was treated as such. I was spoiled. I was loved on, overly loved, maybe rotten, but you know what? That's debatable. But yeah, like, I want to show everything that made up Kennedy from birth to 35 years. I want to show all that to everybody out here, that love, as long as you got God and love and you are doing right by people, nothing can go wrong. And you got worth ethic, and you take on people's wisdom, and don't be hard-headed, and you can accomplish everything. Anything you want, sky's the limit. You are going to be your greatest accomplishment in God's eyes. Yeah. So, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. It's my first time doing this though, but
Listen, you're doing great. You're doing good. You're doing real good. Real good.
But yeah,
Real
like
good.
I try to stay, I'm not a sharer. I don't do this. Like, I don't like talking. I don't like expressing myself. I could kind of consider myself a little G. I know I look like soft and sweet and stuff, but like, like I'll be trying to like stay composed and like, I got it together. But a lot of people around me told me that a lot of people need to hear my story. They need to know that struggle and tragedy and hurt can come from everywhere. But if you have God and you have the right people, and you keep your mind right, and you focus on your goals, and you just stay grounded, you can accomplish everything. Set your goals, get your mind right, just focus. Don't let no distractions come in and hinder anything you got going on, because you can accomplish everything. Once everything is done, just no distractions, you can accomplish everything, So
That's good.
I'm not really gonna go into depth about me right now with what's going on, but it's gonna come out in my songs once I write them, because I have such a powerful story, and it's kind of unheard of. It's not common, and I'm kind of more comfortable in my soul now to share, and I feel more confident. So I can't wait for y'all to hear it in the future, though.
Good. We can't wait to hear it. And it's something that you said that I think is very key, that really speaks to why I chose the topic I chose tonight, is because the reason that it's significant for people to really be who they are is because the story behind who you are is what's going to really help other people to find who they are.
Yeah.
Your story is always going to be your story, because people are going to, and each of you on here, and those of you who are watching us on Facebook and YouTube, there's a story inside of you that, and I normally try not to go here, but I can't help it, it's coming out. There's a story that God has written about your life that's not even for you. It's for somebody else that's coming behind you. It's for somebody else that's out there that is they're trying to figure this thing out, and they're just scared, and they don't know if there's any worth or if there's any value in who they are until they hear the story of somebody that had to put some work in, had to go through some struggle, had to go through some tragedy to figure this thing out, and to hear the story of how God brought them out, to say, hey, the person that you see standing in front of you, this ain't who I was. This is how I had to get to where I'm at. So I want to pose this question real quick right here. And I want to ask each of you, what is your secret sauce? Like, what is the thing about you that makes you you, but it's really it's the source of your power that allows you to be who you are on blast? What's your secret sauce? What's that thing about you that it's like, this is my secret weapon? Like, without this, I may not be who I am if I didn't have this. So what's your secret sauce? So I want to start with Andrew this time. We're going to go to Tamika, then we're going to come to Freya, Matika, and then Mr. Wilson's going to close out this one.
So kind of what D. Wilson said earlier, self-motivation. So the resilience within myself to know that I'm an overcomer. So the many things that I've been through, the things that I'm going through, the things that will come, knowing that I just have to be able to successfully get out of that situation for myself, not by myself, not by my own being, my own to do it all, right? Obviously it was a higher work, but just the fact that I can look back, unlike Lot's wife, I'm able to look back, and I'm blessed to be able to look back. Anytime you look back, that means you move forward. So that progression in life through those obstacles, really that resilience and that self-motivation is really what gets me there to say, I did that. So if I did that, then I can overcome this.
All right. Who I say next? LaFreya? Was you next?
I think it was me.
Yeah.
It was you. It was Freya. Were you next? Matika was next?
No, let LaFreya go.
Oh, okay. Okay. Go ahead, LaFreya. I'm sorry, I lost the order myself. Sorry about that.
That's fine. I certainly enjoyed your response, Andrew. So I'm going to take two perspectives. So first of all, it is in him that I live, I move, and have my being. So I am not who I am without God. That's first and foremost. The secret sauce or the secret to success is rooted in my faith. So the Bible talks about without faith, it's impossible to please him, and the just shall live by his faith. And so I cannot be who I am without acknowledging the fact that I have God in my life on my side. Because just like Tamika has talked about, there are things and situations and circumstances that each and every one of us has to go through. We all have a story, and our stories may not be the same, but our stories have shaped us and brought us to where we are. And there is no way I could have survived the many different trials, tribulations, setbacks, disappointments, the bottom dropping out, beneath me, the letdowns, the losses, all of that, the hardships, adversities, without having my faith, because I wouldn't have had anything to hold on to. So when you were talking about earlier, Blair, that people go through things for others, if we look through the Bible, and if you are a Bible reader or a studier of the word, there are so many instances, circumstances, and situations that transpired that keeps us encouraged. One of the things that I do is I always do a daily bread or daily word, where I'm always reading and encouraging myself. And there was one particular quote that I read many, many years ago. I'm talking about over 20 years ago, that talked about the victories of our past give us courage for the future. So everything that we've gone through and overcome gets us ready for the next. So when Andrew was talking about looking back, we know that that's how we are able to overcome. So my faith has brought me thus far. Now, from a natural perspective, having a growth mindset to always want to do better. Michelle Obama wrote a book a few years back called Becoming, and did like tours on it. And it talked about how we're continuously becoming who we are. So when you have a growth mindset, we talk a lot about this, and not just education, but in industry. You know, people talk about how can we do better with our businesses? How can we grow? That means that you understand the power of yet, that I may not have gotten there, but I didn't get there yet. So I know I'm going to get to where I need to go. So it's having the right perspective and attitude towards everything that you do, and realizing that growth has nothing to do with a chronological age, but it really has to do with who you are on the inside, that you want to do better. So I have my faith that keeps me grounded. And then I have an understanding in my mind that there's more, that there's more. So even at right now, there's still more that I'm becoming. And that's what the sauce is, always recognizing the fact that I can't make it without God, but that I'm ever growing.
Awesome, awesome. Latika, what's your sauce? What's that secret sauce?
I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And that is so very true. We literally can do nothing without God. But what helps me to move like I do is having maintaining, because it takes work, a sensitivity to the voice of God. And you need to be able to hear him so that when he's shifting you, you shift when he says shift. And when you be still, when he's telling you to be still. And then when when you can move with that confidence, that comes from relationship, that comes from supping, sleeping, and reading and studying the word of God and communing with him. When you have that relationship, then you will move powerful on whatever it is that you're doing, because you have the assurance that God told me to do this. So I don't have to worry about what anybody else says. I can move full force, knowing that I am following the will of God. If it's natural, if it's spiritual, whatever it is, it says, acknowledge me in all things. I don't care what you're doing. I need to be a part of it. I need to be in it. So I find that when I have that assurance, when I'm talking to God and when I'm listening and in a position of obedience, then I can move powerful in whatever it is that I'm doing. You know how it's like when you're little, or for me, shoot, that's even still now. When you get that okay from your mama, you go somewhere, you say, well, my mama said, you don't worry about what nobody else said, because your mama said you can do it, and you don't care. Mama's word is the word. But it's just like that with God. If my father said I can do this, if my father told me to go, if my father told me to stop, then I should be putting my all into whatever it is that I'm doing. That should be the battery in my back, is that I can move with the confidence that I'm standing firm on the word of God and I'm being obedient to his voice, which means that I have to maintain a sensitivity, which comes from working. You have to work. You have to read your word. You have to be praying. You have to turn your plate over. You have to do all these things and then be obedient to what it is that you heard him tell you to do. And everything else will line up. Will it be easy? Absolutely not. No, it's not going to be easy, but it is definitely worth it. So that's my drive. That's my kick.
All right. Tamika, what's your secret sauce?
Well, my secret sauce is God first, like always. Like everybody else said, we all know who is the best person in this world, okay? Who is the best person in this universe? Who is the best person everywhere, okay? It starts there. So it starts with God. And then it goes with, stubbornness. People underestimate me. I've always been the baby. I've always been the youngest one. You know what? I don't have the best voice. I'm not the most determined person out there. And it was always like the older, more talented, the more financially stable people who was able to do whatever they wanted to do. And then they underestimated me. And it was like, oh, Tamika, we got to get this going on. But, there goes Tamika. She'll do it because she's never scared to sing. Like that's the other thing. I was never afraid to do anything. It was always like, we'll ask Tamika because we know she'll do it, basically. And as far as goes singing and performing or doing, little thing, like even being in church, and I'm doing like my being on Sunday, and we're doing the plays at church, and all the kids be scared to do the play, and I'll be like, no, I'm number one, little bubble gum, like in the front, like, no, I was saying I'm gonna act. I'm gonna perform. I've never been afraid. So it's like pure determination, like the underdog. Like, how dare you think that what you say to me and what you do to me is gonna affect my life? I'm God's baby. Like, how dare you? What, you really thought you was gonna affect me? You can't break me. I'm God's baby. So like, that's where it drives me. The stubbornness, the determination. I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna prove God right, that he was right about me, that I need to be doing what I need to be doing, sharing my voice and my spirit with the world, because they're gonna learn who I am, because I'm coming from a whole good place. And I just want to send out positive, beautiful vibes to everybody through my voice. So that's what drives me. That's where this starts from with me.
All right. All right, Mr. Wilson, you closing it out. Now they done set it up for you.
So my secret sauce is first and foremost, I really care about everything that I do personally and professionally. So I put a lot of care, I put a lot of planning into everything I do. So I try to be prepared, and I try to make sure I plan. So that's usually when you plan things out accordingly, they, should work if you plan them out properly. And then secondly, I think I lost my train of thought. Oh, consistency. I just try to be consistent. So, being in business, you understand business go up and down. And when they go down, some people lose their faith, they lose their desire to do stuff because it's not, it's not at its high point, but everything goes up and down with business, with life. So I played basketball for years. So one of the things my coach always said, never get too high, never get too low. So it's never as good as you think it is. It's never as bad as you think it is. So I try to make sure I keep a level head and try to stay consistent on everything I do. So to me, that's my secret sauce. And that's been the key to my success, is being consistent at everything that I do.
Man, awesome, man. All of you have said some great stuff. And boy, I will say this, collectively, y'all got some powerful secret sauce. Let me tell you. Y'all got some powerful secret sauce, let me tell you. So really quick here before we go to our closeout. And again, we thankful to everybody on Facebook and YouTube. Guys have been commenting in the comments, and you guys are really into the conversation tonight. And thank you for tuning in. And again, we thank our sponsor, Auntie's Hair Care Products. Thank you for sponsoring us tonight. But I want to do something. We kind of added a little twist to the locker room, where I'm doing a spotlight feature. So we're going to take a moment, and I want to go ahead and push this event that's coming up. So we're going to spotlight some things on the locker room, because we want to try to help push and promote everybody as much as we can. And so we want to go ahead and promote this event that is coming up. It is the Wise Her Women's Conference that is happening at Tabernacle of Praise Church. That's Pastor Charles McCarley and First Lady Rachel McCarley. She is the host for this event, along with the Wise Her Women at Tabernacle of Praise. It's going to take place March 10th through the 12th here in the city of Buffalo. And I tell you, this conference is shaping up to be something kind of special. Let me tell you, something kind of special. They have so many things going on during this conference. We have a wonderful concert on Friday night. And Jada Spite, who is from BET Sunday Best, and she's born and bred, I believe, born right here in Buffalo, New York. And she will be the special guest that night. And we got some other artists. We've got Audrey Kelly, Caprice Butts coming through, and some other artists on that concert. And it's called the She's Strong Concert. The theme of the conference is She's Strong. And so this conference is also available. It's open to men and women. So fellas, they didn't forget about us. They didn't forget about us. So they've got a lot of things going on. They've got an expo. They've got some classes going on Saturday, some workshops and different things happening. And then of course, for Friday and Saturday, Everything will be at the chapel at Cross Point. And then, of course, Sunday to close out is going to be at Edom Christian Fellowship, because had to go to a bigger venue because we expect big things. And so have to move into bigger places. And so this is going to be an absolute awesome conference. You can go to the website to register. Registration is only $40. It's only $40, y'all. That's nothing. All right. But the registration is available. You can register right now and secure your spot, because you do not want to miss this great conference. The website is there on the flyer. You can go to www.tabernacleofpraisebuffalo.com to register for this event. And Lady Rachel and her team, they have been like working to try to put this conference together, to make sure that everyone who attends has a absolutely fantastic experience. Not just coming to a conference, but they're planning for you to have a real experience, and above all, to have a God encounter at this conference. So you want to make sure that you register, go and secure your spot online. They got some wonderful sponsors for this. And so we're looking forward to this conference. And as you see, you'll see the website, you'll see it posted on social media everywhere. So you want to make sure you go ahead and secure your spot for that. And so, man, we've had such a wonderful conversation tonight, and we're at the point where we want to go ahead and we're going to close this out, because we want to stick to the time we had. And so everything you all have said tonight has been so good. It's been so good, and a lot of wisdom has been shared tonight. And a lot of folks have been encouraged. I've been looking in the comments and we've been talking, and so many people have really, really been encouraged by this. And the one thing that I believe has come out of this so strong is that when you have the courage to just be who you are, when you have the courage and the strength to be who you are, there is such a impact on the world and such an impact on people that you can make. And sometimes some of these people, you may never meet them. They may never ever come up to you and actually tell you, well, hey, you blessed me. I've watched you. You have inspired me. But every day that you choose to step out and be who you are out loud, you encourage and touch someone. So I want to go around the room with this last piece, and I want to say to each of you that there's somebody watching or has been watching tonight who it's a challenge for them to really step into and walk into their authentic self. Somebody is watching who has been trying to fit in. They've been simply trying to fit in. They're a circle, but they've been trying to fit into a square because they're scared to be a circle. And so they've been watching tonight. And so I want each of you to go ahead, and I want you to speak to that person on Facebook, speak to that person on YouTube who has been watching, who the real person that they are is literally screaming on the inside, let me out, let me out. They just can't find the courage to let that person out so that they can start living life on a level and start living life in a way that they may have never lived before. So I want to start with Mr. Wilson, and we're just going to go right around the room, and we're going to close out with Kennedy. But Mr. Will, I want you to say, what would you say to that person that would help to unlock the key on the cage that they've kept themselves in because they've just been unscared to open the door and walk out? What would you say to them to help them to come out and be who they are?
Find what you love to do. Find what you enjoy and follow that. Like a lot of times, we, in my mind, everybody in the world has a gift, and some people find that gift. And if you can find your gift, and a lot of times it's what you love to do, and if you can find that and you find success in that, all that other stuff kind of take care of itself. So you got to find something that you love to do and find what you your passion, your enjoyment. Sometimes we have skills, we have things that we do. Some people love to talk and negotiate, like Andrew, and they just do it. But real estate might be your lane, and you don't even know it. So you got to find what you love to do, and then find the particular realm or region that goes in, and then pursue it, and you'll find success in that because you love to do it.
Awesome. LaFreya?
I encourage you to dig deep into yourself and start with counting your blessings. Look at your giftings, your talents, and your abilities. What makes you happy? What brings you joy? And don't be afraid to tap into that and to walk in that. So you know who you are because you live with yourself every single day of your life. You've been with yourself since the moment you entered into this world. So don't be afraid to be you. Look in the mirror every day and remind yourself of who you are and surround yourself with the right people. Make sure that if you're interested in a particular avenue, career, or path, that you're around people who do that. Find you a mentor or someone who can coach you through that, who's going to speak life into you, and get into a circle that lifts you up and doesn't tear you down. And whether you believe in God, whether you believe in the higher power, there's a faith that only you can tap into that comes from the higher power. So you must find who you truly are, because the Bible says you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and that before your parents got together, that God formed you and he knew you and he set a purpose for you. So don't be afraid of what your purpose is in life, and make sure that you are not your biggest critic, but your biggest champion and cheerleader, because you know who you truly are and you can only be who God made you.
Awesome. Andrew, come on, sir. What you got?
Just so, I mean, my background is psychology. So kind of going to that, stepping away from the spiritual, assuming that there may be someone here that's not spiritual, right? Spiritually minded, spiritually in tune, spirit, all of that. I would start with a personality test. Find out who you are from a psychological perspective, and then tap into your spiritual. Find out, who you are from the spiritual perspective. I mean, the word says that few are called and many are chosen. And I may have that backwards, but the point is,
many
that
are called, few are chosen.
Many are called, few are chosen. I knew it after I said it. Many are called, few are chosen. So who you're listening to here are the few that are chosen, the few that have been set aside and put into the position that they're in and have found themselves. And I think along the lines of joy is probably going to be the most important word as well to some of the comments that came before me. You need to find what you are joyfully doing, what makes you joyful, right? That's tying into the spiritual, not just happy, because unfortunately happy things are temporary, right? You may be happy doing it during that morning shift, but by the time you get to the after lunch, you ain't happy at work anymore. So you have to find that innermost joy. And I think that, those together will piece the puzzle together. I think the most important takeaway is the fear of you being the person that you think that you may be, or the inner person that's talking to you. I think the fear needs to be in what will happen if you don't become who you're called and created to be. That should be the fear. What happens if you don't walk into the place that you're supposed to be, when you're not where you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to be with, doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's the real fear. So focus on that, the fear of not playing your role while you're here on this earth.
Awesome. And I think we lost Tamika, so hopefully she'll pop back in here in the next couple seconds. But come on, Matika, what you got?
I would speak to that person and encourage them, and just a little piggyback off of what Andrew was saying about finding what your inner happiness is. What do you get excited about? What do you think about in the midnight? You know, you laying down, you can't sleep, and that one thing is just on your mind all the time. And don't go into it worrying about how much money am I going to make, or, you know, how many people are really going to like this or anything like that, because God will enlarge your territory. The Bible says that your gifts will make room for you, but you definitely need to be in line with God so that your steps are ordered, so that you're moving in the right direction. So I would encourage that person, don't worry about not fitting in. Don't worry about not fitting in at all. Find what makes you happy and then ask God, God, is this it? Is this good for me? And if it is, then enlarge my territory. Allow my gifts to make the room for me. And then everything else will be added on to you as long as you are staying in the kingdom. And in the meantime, honey, get some Esthers. Get you some Esthers and some people around you that's going to encourage you, that's going to go to God for you, that's going to keep your name, you know, at the feet of Jesus when you're going through and when you're building. You want people that's going to be there to encourage you, not to tell you that, no, you shouldn't do it. That's not popular. That may not work. So-and-so is doing that already. We have 30 different brands of cars and a million different brands of vacuums, but we don't have this one. We don't have this. So I encourage you to just stay true to who you are. Find what makes you happy, and then take it to God and let God do everything else after that.
That's awesome. That's great. This has been an amazing conversation. And so I would simply say this to those who are listening on Facebook and YouTube. Speaking as a person who, for some years of my life, you know, I struggled with being who I was. And one of the things that I struggled with personally was just not thinking I was good enough to whatever it was that I was going to do, just never thinking I was good enough. I didn't see the real value in who I was. So a lot of times I just suppressed it to make other people comfortable. I suppressed it. I hated it. But because everyone else was okay, that I went ahead and suppressed it. And so it took me some years to break out of that. It took me some years to break out of that. And one of the things that helped me to kind of get free and break from that was I finally realized that he made me a square for a reason. And a big part of that reason is that I'm not supposed to fit everywhere. I'm not supposed to be like other people. I was never meant to be. There's one thing that I heard Pastor Charles McCarley say yesterday when he was preaching. And he said, every blade of grass is different. No two blades of grass are the same. And God made it that way for a reason, because he likes variety. He likes variety. And so if all of us are made different, if all of us are look different, we're all different shapes. Okay. I'm a round guy. Round is a shape. It's a shape. And so if all of us look different, have different hair, we have different faces, we talk different, our voices are different, the way we think is different, the way we reason is different, the way we move around, you know, how we receive stuff, all of those things are different. And God made us that way for a reason. And so once I realized that he was okay with who he made me, because he made me. Because the word says after God created everything, he said everything he made was good. And it was good in his sight. So he didn't go back and correct anything. So God didn't go back and remake the tree. He didn't go back and remake the clouds. He didn't redo the stars. He did it one time. And he never went back and redid it because he made it exactly the way he wanted it to be made for it to do exactly what it does. So if God has not recreated you, if he hasn't sent you back into your mother's womb and had you come out again, that means that he's happy with who he made you to be. He just needs us to finally figure out that he is okay with who he made us to be, so that now we can be okay with who he made us and step out and be that person. So if you are different, keep being different. You are unique. Keep being unique. There's nothing wrong with that. And there is, let me say this. There is nothing wrong with you. I don't care what the world told you. I don't care what your family told you. I don't care what your friends told you. There is nothing wrong with you. I want to say that one more time because I want it to sink in. There is nothing wrong with you. You are beautiful. You are powerful. You are strong. You are gifted. You are talented just the way you are. The only thing God wants to do is to take you through the process of making you a better you today than you were yesterday. He wants to make you a better you tomorrow than you were yesterday. But you don't have to change for nobody. I don't care what they want you to be. It's not up to them. You know why? Because they didn't create you. They didn't make you. So be who you are. Walk powerfully and passionately in who you are. The world is waiting for you to be who you are, and be who you are out loud, unapologetic, in front of everybody. Because you doing that is going to inspire somebody. It's going to push somebody. You are literally going to unlock somebody's cage so that they can come out and be free and be exactly who they want to be. They can be the person they dream. They can be the person they've seen visions. You are going to be the one. By you being you, you free somebody else to be who they are. That's the power and significance of being authentically you, is you bring freedom to other people. And that's why we're on this earth. That's why God has us here. That's why we're doing what we're doing in the various industry. That's why each one of these individuals on this panel, that's why they do what they do, and they are who they are in the industry and sector they're in, is because they are bringing freedom to people. They're bringing freedom to people. So listen, we thank everybody for joining us tonight on this edition of the Locker Room. This has been absolutely great. This has been wonderful. This has been inspiring. And I'm thankful to each and every last one of my panelists for joining to be with me on tonight. I thank you all for just a wonderful time, for all of you sharing your perspectives and your wisdom tonight, which I know has been a help and has been a blessing to all those who have been watching tonight. And of course, last but not least, I want to again thank our sponsor, Tonette Troublefield and Auntie Care's Hair Care Products, for sponsoring tonight's Locker Room. The website is live actually right now. I'm just throwing it up so you can see what it looks like. That's her website. And so you can go right there and get all your all natural hair care stuff. And he's also doing a special tonight, have a special tonight. This is a Locker Room special. And so if you use the promo code Locker Room, when you go to her site, you can actually get 10% off. So you want to go ahead and take advantage of this discount. It's a Locker Room discount for tonight. And so you can get 10% off on her products on her site. And the site, of course, is auntcares.com. I'm going to post that, of course, in the comments. on Facebook so you can see what the site is. I think I actually did post it. I posted the website in the comments, so you can click on the link and go get your stuff so you can get your hair together. You know, I got my beard oil because I want to make sure my beard is nice and tight. So fellas, you can get your beard oil and all that stuff. We're going. Last but not least, Matika, where's your shop? Tell people where your shop is and how they can come and make an appointment to get it laid and fried or whatever they get done to it.
Well, I retired from doing hair.
You did? Okay.
Yes, I did. I retired from doing hair. And so I am doing full face makeup, lashes and brow services. I also have my my hair care line. I have a stimulating hair growth oil, hair butter, I have beard oil. So, you know, we kind of in the same vein. Their lip gloss, lashes. My website is jokelebeauty.com, and that is JOKELE beauty, BEAUTY.com. And you can go on there and order you some good stuff.
All right. Do me a favor. Go ahead and put that in the comments on
Yes,
Facebook so people can see the website. Mr. Wilson, you say you got a restaurant?
Yeah, the Oak Room.
Oh, the Oak Room. Okay. All right. So when are you guys open? Because I want to make sure we drive people to come on and come through there and, you know, get some food and whatever you guys have going on.
We open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. Friday we had a happy hour where we honor somebody in the community every week. So you know, trying to just do good things and kind of be the urban hub for the Buffalo area.
All right, awesome. Oak Room, man, y'all don't do breakfast no more, man?
No, not yet. Not yet.
All right. It's coming soon, right? It's coming soon.
That's another game. That's another task.
Okay. All right. Freya, anything?
Just be on the lookout for microbig.com. You can go to microbig.com for some of the upcoming things that my husband and I have going on with that particular business. I'll put it inside the chat, but just be on the lookout for events and other activities. We have some really great things planned and an upcoming future for our children and youth in the community.
Awesome. That's good. That's good stuff. Andrew, I see you got your Scott Realty Group. Where are you located? Where can people find you to if they come in and go get their home or whatever they need to do? Where can they find you at?
Yeah, sure. So Andrew Scott, associate broker of Scott Realty Group, co-owner with my father. We're currently on Main Utica, 1377 Main Street, Suite 5. By mid-March, we'll be in Hansa down on Ellicott. So if you're familiar with where Brothers Restaurant is, it's a couple of doors down to the left from there. And you guys can always catch me on social media. You'll see me. I post several times a day. Very reachable. We'll get back to you immediately. So that's fine. Website is fine as well. My number and email is also in the chat, so you'll be able to reach me there as well. Thank you again for the opportunity, Blair. I appreciate you.
All right. Awesome. So again, for all our folks that are watching, please, let's go and support these businesses that people have. Let's go and support them, you know, buy their products, go eat at the restaurant, you know, participate in, you know, the projects that are coming up with Microbig and with Scott Realty Group. You know, you're looking for a home, looking for some property, hit them up, go get to them and so they can help you get into a home. And let's support all these businesses, because listen, these are quality, top-notch people. All right. And so you're going to get the best service. They're going to work for you. They're going to do what they can for you to get you what you need. So let's make sure that we support them because again, if we don't support us, who will? And that's just a fact. If we don't support us, who is going to support us? So let's make sure that we do that. And so with that, thank you to everyone who was watching tonight on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for tuning in, for joining us for this first edition of the Locker Room for 2023. And we will be back in March with more great conversation and some more great panelists. as we continue to walk this out and continue to evolve along this path that we're on and that God has graced us to have and to participate in. And so with that, everyone have a wonderful, wonderful night. Have a great rest of your week. And remember, being you brings freedom to other people. So continue to do that. Continue to do the great things that God has set for you to do. And we'll see you next month in March for the next edition of the Locker Room. We love you. We appreciate you. Have a great night.